Hello D1, happy Monday. Let's go ahead and let's talk about what your jobs are for today. So first things first, we are on our homepage. You can see up here, we are doing our iReady diagnostic this week. So keep that in mind. I'll go into more details about the diagnostic, but just keep that in mind that is what we're working on this week. That's going to be our big kind of focus. And so we're going to go ahead, we're going to come to our assignments. We are going to see, we are on the week of January 11th through the 15th. It is Monday. I am going to scroll down and you are going to see our Google Classroom after it loads. Thank you for being patient. There it is. Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's look at our jobs for today. So first things first, we are going to do some review of proper nouns. I'm going to go ahead. I am going to click on the sun. So I noticed last week while we were working on our nouns review, I had a lot of friends who were mixing up common nouns and proper nouns. And so for today's job, we're going to be exclusively talking about proper nouns. So remember, we talk about common nouns and then we have proper nouns, right? We adjust our tie, proper nouns, right? Proper nouns always start with a capital letter, meaning a big letter. And so that is what we're going to be focusing on today. We're going to talk about what has a capital letter, what type of nouns. So we have states, cities, countries, streets, products like toys or foods, holidays, days of the week, and months. And so you are going to go through, you are going to listen to the audio for this first slide of this anchor chart. Ms. Walsh goes over this anchor chart, so please listen to this audio or read it yourself. Then you're going to go ahead. There is an example. Ms. Walsh goes over the examples. Again, click here to listen to the audio or read it yourself. Then you're going to go ahead, Ms. Walsh, again, audio provided, for you to read these sentences. You are going to answer these questions. So number one, the state in which I live. You live in California. And being that we're working on using capital letters, guess what California is going to start with? A capital letter, right? And so you're going to go ahead, you're going to type here, as I explain in the directions to use a capital, what you're going to do is you're going to press the shift button on your keyboard. I don't know if I could show it to you guys. Yeah, no, it won't let me. I thought I could, but you're going to go ahead, you're going to press the shift button on your keyboard, and then you're going to press the letter you need. California starts with a C, so I'm going to shift and press the C, right? And so now I have a capital C, and then I'm going to go ahead and spell California. Boom. And then I move on to the next question, a city or town in which I live, and then my favorite toy's name. So you're going to go ahead and answer those questions. Then you're going to move on to slide number 2. You are going to decide now, does it need a capital or does it not need a capital? And so, for example, you can see car. We're just talking about a car, right? We're not saying the specific name of a specific car. So it doesn't need a capital, but Texas, that's a state. It needs a capital. And so you're going to go through town. Does town really tell me anything specific? No, it doesn't. So no capital. Oh, Disney. Oh, yeah, that's a name of a company. So needs a capital. And you're going to go through and sort them accordingly. Again, audio is provided to read the directions for you if you need it. Then you move on to slide number 3. This slide, I am looking for friends who are following the directions specifically. So you can see it says answer the questions below using complete sentences. Of course, at the beginning of every sentence, there is a capital letter, but that is not what you're going to be highlighting today. You can see that there's some highlighting boxes. You are going to highlight the word that is capitalized that does not start at the beginning of the sentence. So here's an example. What month were you born? I was born in December. You can see December is the name of a month, and so they capitalize the D. Now what I'm going to do is I take one of the highlighting blocks, and I'm going to highlight the word December because I had to capitalize the D in December. I do not need to highlight the I because it's the beginning of the sentence, right? And so the next one was What is your middle name? Complete sentence. My middle name is, and it's a name, so I need to capitalize, Christine. And I put a period because it's the end of the sentence. Now I grab one of the highlighting blocks, and boom, there you go. And if I have friends who don't have a middle name, just go ahead, leave a private comment for Miss Walsh, and then answer the rest of the questions. If you don't have a middle name, that's totally fine. You can just move on and respond to the other questions, and just leave Miss Walsh a comment. And yeah, so that's going to be your morning work. Then you're going to have your journal. It is Make Believe Monday, meaning we are going to be practicing again our narrative writing skills. And so our Make Believe Monday prompt, remember this is going to go in your physical journal that Miss Walsh gave you. You are going to write this pencil paper. You are going to write a story about going back in time, so time travel. Use descriptive details and be sure to write at least 5 to 6 sentences. This could be easily more than 5 to 6 sentences. If you want to do more, can you do more? Yes, of course. You can be as creative as you'd like, but you should have at least 5 to 6 sentences, which would be pretty easy with this prompt. Miss Walsh gave you some audio over here on the side. Again, she will read it to you. You can go ahead, if you're stuck, you're like, oh, I don't even know what to talk about. Miss Walsh has provided some pictures for you that you can use as inspiration. So you can see, like, look at the picture. Oh, there's a baby. It looks like a knight and a horse. There's a playground. There looks like there's some kind of portal happening. So you can use that as inspiration or as a starting point for your story. You do not have to, though. If you have something else you'd like to write about, go for it. And then here we have some sentence frames and starters. There once lived, da 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 da. I was blank when all of a sudden blank. And so you can use these if you need them. Then we have our Zoom. Please come to Zoom on time at 9 o'clock. We have a lot we need to get done. It might go a little bit over 10, and that is okay because you are just with me today. And so just keep that in mind. It might go a little bit over 10. It just depends on if everyone shows up on time, and then how well we're listening when we go over our spelling skill for the week. So just keep that in mind. During our Zoom, we are going to be going over our spelling skill for this week. That is going to be something new that we are going to start doing. And then we're also going to work on our 2021 craft. So if you have the paper, which I thought I had it right next to me. Yeah, here it is. If you have your paper that looks like this, it has the 2021 and then the green sheet as well. Go ahead and bring those to Zoom. If you don't see this before Zoom, no worries. We'll have time to grab it. But if you're seeing this before Zoom, go ahead and grab it, please. And then you are going to, after our Zoom, you are going to complete it. We probably won't finish all the coloring and stuff in Zoom, so you're going to go ahead, you're going to have time to finish that up, cut it out, and then you're going to go ahead, you're going to press this 2021. And this is where you're going to turn it in. Show Miss Walsh that you have completed it. You're going to click on the slide, and you are going to insert a picture. And so once Miss Walsh completes it, she's going to go ahead, press insert image. If it will let me, there it is. Camera. And then you can go ahead, you can just show me up nice and close. Ooh, my goodness. Ooh, there it is. And I don't need to be in it. And I would just press like that, right? Of course, if you want to be in it, that would be totally awesome. And so go ahead, you just press insert, and you're going to insert it in here. Boom. Just like that. Obviously, it needs to be completed. This is not complete, so Ms. Walsh would not get all her points for this. So just keep that in mind. And so we have our craft. After that, go ahead, take a break. After your break, we are going to do day 1 of our spelling skill. We are talking about the spelling pattern with a consonant L-E, meaning all of the words will end in L-E. And they're going right before the L-E, we are going to find a consonant. A consonant is any letter that is not a vowel. So a vowel is A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y, only when the Y makes an E sound. So we are going to be talking about consonants. So consonants are everything else that isn't A, E, I, O, U. So keep that in mind. And so what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be talking about open syllables versus closed syllables. We are going to go over that in Zoom for our spelling skills, so keep that in mind. So if you're kind of like, I'm not sure what an open syllable is or a closed syllable, we are going to talk about it during Zoom. No worries. So just keep that in mind. We are going to practice that skill. So then we have our spelling. And after you complete that sort, then we're going to have our Stuart Little reading. Woo woo! I am so excited. We are going to be reading chapter 1 of Stuart Little. You are going to go ahead, you are going to click on this cover. You are going to come over here. You are going to see you have 2 options for listening to chapter 1. You can click on the picture of the cover for Stuart Little, and you can see that audio is provided. Oops. So you can click here. That is one way to listen to the audio. So it'll just pop up like this, and then you would just press play. Or if you'd like to stay on the slide, you can go ahead and click the speaker and it will play it that way as well. So keep that in mind. Then you move on to slide number 2. Do not just listen to the story and then turn it in. No, we're checking for comprehension as well. So you are going to move on to slide number 2, and you are going to answer incomplete sentences. If you do not give me a complete sentence, you are automatically getting half credit. That means you are automatically just going to lose half points for each question that does not have a complete sentence. We are practicing restating questions. This is something we've been practicing now since the beginning of the school year, so I know you all are super capable of it. And if you're kind of struggling with restating the question, send Ms. Walsh a message. Write me a comment and we'll work on it together. And so you can see for number 1, it says, in what ways was Mrs. Little's second son different from her first? Mrs. Little's second son was different from her first because blank, right? And so I went ahead, I restated the question, and now I kind of set it up to put an answer. And you're going to go through and respond to each of these. So again, make sure that you do a complete sentence. For example, if it says describe the setting of this book, the setting of this book is blank. I should not see, long ago city. That is not a complete sentence. You will lose points for that. So just keep that in mind, please, when you go through and answer these questions. Then we have lunch. After lunch, we are going to go ahead, we are going to do array review. So we are getting ready to move on to our next subject of math. We are going to be talking about perimeter and area because area in particular talks a lot about multiplication, and so I want to get our brains ready for some more multiplication. So we're going to review arrays, and depending on how well you guys do with this review, we might be able to move on to perimeter or area probably by Wednesday. So keep that in mind. We are going to go ahead. There is audio provided for Ms. Walsh to read you the directions for each slide if you need that support. And you can see slide number 1 is an example. That means you are not going to do anything with slide number 1, and you are going to move on to slide number 2. Slide number 1, again, is an example, so you can go ahead and you can look at it. We're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Oh, so we can see that there's 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 2 columns, 1, 2. Remember, rows, like rows of seats, and columns, they're the things that support buildings, right? And so keep that in mind. So we have 4 rows, 2 columns. So our multiplication sentence is 4 times 2, and our product is 8. Boom. So then we move on to slide number 2, and we complete that. And you're going to go ahead. There is going to be 4 slides that you are in charge of. And so just keep that in mind when you are doing that. Then after your array, you have your iReady diagnostic. So I'm not going to click on the iReady button because it just takes you to the login page, but we are going to be doing our iReady diagnostic. And so remember at the beginning of the school year when we first started using iReady, we had to take a big test. You can give me a me too if you remember. We are going to be taking that test again. It's going to look a little different because it knows where you are currently at. And so when we are doing the iReady diagnostic, this is not a time for us to sit with maybe mom, dad, older sibling, grandma, grandpa, and have them help us. This is going to be independent, meaning by yourself. If you have any questions about your iReady diagnostic, please come to me. Write me a message. I cannot give you answers. I'm going to let you know now. I cannot give you answers. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. You don't need the answers from me. You guys have learned so much, and so I know you are so capable of doing well on this diagnostic. I'm going to let you know, though, that they're purposely asking you really hard questions because they want to challenge you and see how much you know. And so they're going to ask you a lot of really hard questions, and what I need you to do when you get those really hard questions is try personal best. If you feel frustrated, you can stop, right? We've practiced different strategies. We can stop, drop, and roll. So stop, we can drop our head and roll it, right? Until we feel like we're back to our green zone. We can take a break. Remember, you should only be doing this for about 30 minutes because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves. So just keep that in mind. Again, if you have questions about the iReady diagnostic, please come to Miss Walsh. This is not a job you go and have someone sit down and help you with. This is an independent job. Please try and do math today. I would like for us to do math. If you do the reading one, that's okay, but please try and do math. And yeah, that's going to be it for our day. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you guys at Zoom. Bye, D1.